Our numbers are going.
Good morning from Kalgoorlie. Nice. How does it get any better than that? You guys should look at where Kalgoorlie is.
It sounds far away.
It is. It's in Australia, but it's a real treat. I haven't been there, but I wouldn't mind going there. Oh my God, Greece. I so want to get to the Greek islands. I see this is going to distract me now. Switzerland, love that. Haiti, climbed the mountains. Colombia is one of my favorite places. Bogota. Germany, Brazil, Canada. Yay. How does it get any better than that? So, all right. I will stop looking at the side chat. So welcome, everybody. Am I going to clap? What are we doing?
Yes, clap.
Give us a clap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the clap, ladies and gentlemen, is for translators. It's not just for me to give myself a little clap or give you the clap, okay? But I am good at giving the clap. So welcome, everybody. I'm Simone Milasas, and thank you, Paula and Wes. They work with Joy Business amongst a few other people as well. So just in case you didn't know, I don't know if you can see that very well, Joy Business is a book that I wrote, I don't know, like 16 years ago, maybe 15, 16 years ago. And it's actually translated into about 15, 16 languages, soon to come out in Russian. And so what we're going to do today is talk about what idea you have that you haven't moved on. Because how many of you have these great ideas and yet you don't choose? It's like, what if today was the day that you made the demand that you actually start to choose? So I know that a lot of you have done access and some of you have not done much access. So I will give you some tools and some questions that you can use. And also there's a couple of references that I would use as well, because we have something called the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. And you can find Dr. Dane here, who's absolutely so wonderful. He's a co-creator of Access Consciousness, and you can find more about that. He goes into a really long, great, description of how to use the clearing statement on theclearingstatement.com, which I'm sure someone's going to put in the thread there, on the chat thread. So first of all, I just want to say to welcome, and whatever you have created so far and whatever you have not created so far, you're not right and you're not wrong. Because how many of you don't choose based on you're trying to get it right? It's like you figure it all out. So let me tell you if this sounds familiar. Maybe you come up with a business idea or even just an idea for your life. So here's something that I always talk about. Most people go, I'm not going to go to a business class because I don't have a business. Like, I have had so many people over the years say to me two things. One, I can't come to your classes because I don't have a business. Two, I can't come to your class because I don't have the prerequisites. And I was like, what's the prerequisite? And they're like, isn't it to have a joy of business? I'm like, no, that is something that is inside of you. And hopefully we wake up, you don't have to be happy and joyful in business to come along to a class. It's like you can come along to a class. And my point of view is, if you wake up in the morning and you've got blood running through your veins, then you're in business, because your life is your business and your business is your life. That's the way I look at this, guys. It's like, not like, oh, I own a retail shop or I own an online shop or blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, that is part of what you choose to create your life. But I shouldn't say that, but if you're a mom, right, and you're stay at home and you've got a bunch of kids, you've got to run your life, right? It's like, you've got to like work out what the day's going to look like. And it's like, choose. And it's like, so everything you are choosing on a daily basis in every moment is creating or perhaps not creating your life. So I look at it as your whole life is your business. Okay. So what is it that you would actually like to create as your life? My God, it's hot in Australia. It's like 6 a.m. in the morning, and it's like, whew. So for you guys out there who are like in Europe, etc., and you've got like all rugged up and it's snowing outside, that is not what it's like here. It's hot and it's humid. I've literally got the air conditioner on and the fan above me, but all of you guys are making me really hot as well. So you do, the energy. Okay, so what I would like you, I'm going to give you some home play, okay? So you can come along and you can, read books, do some classes, do whatever you want, but I would like you to get something out of here, out of today, being on here. So I want you to write down, doesn't have to be now, it could be now, but I want you to write down at least 5 things that you have been asking to create or asking to choose and have not yet chosen. Okay, and then it's not about judging you. It's about actually having a look at those ideas, and do this in your own time if you want, but have a look at them and ask, okay, so for what reason have I chosen not to choose this? Okay, and then have a look, because it might be, oh, actually, that isn't what I would actually like to choose. That's somebody else's idea. Notice how a lot of the times in life you think, oh, I'd like that. I'll give you a basic example. You go to a restaurant and you go to order your meal and you think, oh, I'll have chicken. And everybody else around you orders chicken and you go, hang on a second, do I actually want chicken, or did I just pick up on what everybody else desired? So how many of you are picking up on all the thoughts, feelings, and emotions and all the ideas of other people, and then deciding that that must be yours and that's what you should create? It doesn't have to work like that. I remember years ago, I actually went to a psychic years and years and years ago. And I was moving to Queensland to become a naturopath. I was going to study naturopathy, and that's where I live now in Queensland. And I was moving there, and he said to me, just because you knew something in a previous lifetime doesn't mean you have to choose it this lifetime. I'll never forget that. And I was like, oh. And I moved up to Queensland and I went to an expo, and that's when I came across Access Consciousness and met a facilitator there. And then I ended up, I'd paid and everything to go to college, but I found Access and I went, oh my goodness, this is more what my life is about. So how many of you are walking a path right now that is not even your path? And again, this is not about right or wrong, and it's not about judgment. The main thing I would like you guys to come out of is judgment of what you have chosen and what you are choosing. I'd like you to have the freedom to wake up tomorrow and know that you can choose anything, because you can. Anything is possible. So, I moved up here, paid my college fees, did all of that, and then met this guy from Access, and then got my bars run. And I had another business also that I was creating, of course, had a few different businesses. And then I met Gary, and then I met Dane, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is what I'd like to create in the world. What they are talking about is what I would like to create. So it's so matched the energy. So if you look at the list of things that you write down, and you can write 50 things down if you want, or whatever, but it's like, try and write at least 5 of things that you are saying that you would like to choose and you'd like to create and you have not yet chosen. And then what I want you to do is look at that list and ask, okay, so truth, because truth is like this universal law that if you actually ask truth, you'll know if it's true for you or not. Okay. And then ask truth, is this mine? Like, are these things on this list things that I would like to choose and what I would like to create? How many of you had the projections, as a kid of what you should do when you leave school, what you should study at college? It's like, are you actually choosing for you, or are you choosing for somebody else? And again, it's not right or wrong. It's just like, I'd like you to get the clarity, because to me, this is your life. It's like, this is not a test run. It's not, you don't want to be like 90, 100, 120, 150 or whatever, lying on your bed going, damn, I wish I'd chosen what it is that I wanted to choose. Instead, I kept choosing for others. So even ask yourself, write the question down, who am I thinking of when I'm choosing? Because are you thinking of your parents, your friends, your kids, your husband, wife, lovers, neighbors? Who are you thinking of when you choose? And what if you could start to choose for you? So everywhere that you've been choosing for somebody else, where you destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. That's the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. And I'll just give you a really quick description, because basically the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement, when you have something like that you're like, I don't even know if this is mine or not. it's like going to that energy, because everything is energy. Okay, it's going to the energy of all the thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and every way that you've decided this is the right choice, or this is wrong, or this is good, or this is perfect. And that moment that you create that as your reality or destroy it, etc. It's like having a computer and pressing the delete button, and you're just going delete, 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 so that every single program you have open, every single document you have open, etc., every platform you have open, you've just cleaned the slate, so that you can have this space to go, oh, what is my reality here? What's my world? What is my choice? Okay, so that's the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. So if you look at this list of these 5 things that you'd like to choose, or create, and you have not yet chosen, ask, okay, so truth, would this be fun for me? It's like, you can ask too. It's like, will this make me money? Because you'll get this energy of like, yes, no. And not like you have to choose everything just for money. I'm talking your whole entire life. But how many of you are making it based on money rather than actually including money and choosing for you? So an example that I would say, for years and years and years, I learned to snow ski when I was like 3 years old. And I know I say snow skiing, Canadians on that go, it's just skiing. And I'm like, well, no, I grew up water skiing too. So I have to say snow skiing. So I learned to snow ski when I was like 3 years of age, and skied a lot, all over the place, and always said, oh, I'm going to go heli skiing one day. And heli skiing is when you go up in the helicopter and, you jump out of the helicopter, chuck your stuff out, and, you ski on these big, beautiful mountains in huge power, and it's amazing. And I kept saying, I'm going to go heli skiing. I'm going to go heli skiing. But I kept saying, I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. I'm going to do it, and never chose it. And then I was with a friend in Colorado, and it was a beautiful day, like absolutely beautiful day. And he said, hey, do you want to go heli skiing tomorrow? And it hit me, like it was so confronting, because I went, oh, this is something I've been asking about for the last 20 years and have not yet chosen. So there was really no excuse, because it was a really beautiful day, because you don't want to go heli skiing in a blizzard or bad wind or something like that. It was a beautiful day, and it was going to be a great day the next day. So I looked at the energy of it and I went, yeah, I would. So we did, but it was so confronting to me, because I started to look at what else have I been saying I'm going to do, saying I'm going to choose, yet have not chosen. Like, how many of you are in a job that you hate? It's like, well, what if now is the space, like now is the time that you created the space to allow yourself to actually choose something that you enjoy. Now, and here's the quick thing. How many of you go, oh, but it's not the time because, the way the world is at the moment, or blah, 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 or my family or my kids, oh, but this is da, da, da. You come up with these reasons and justifications for not choosing what it is that you would truly like to choose. Are you aware the universe has your back? Now, I'm not saying you should all just go and quit your jobs and quit your job and go, no, I'm going to do this, or like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, as they say. You know that saying, right? It's like everyone used to have, the same bath. But, here's the gross thing, little sidebar. And it's like, they'd have a bath, right? And so the whole family would be bathing, but they'd put the baby in last, and everyone's like, working in coal mines or whatever. It's like, this gross water. So the whole idea was, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, because you could hardly see the baby because the water was so dirty from the whole family bathing. That's like just a little sidebar piece of information for you. So everything that brought up, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and on green back, pop and put on nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, so what I'd like to look at, I don't have my glasses on. I can put my glasses on if you guys are asking any questions in the side. Okay, so let's look at, if you have those, like at least 5 things that it is that you would like to choose, and for what reason you are not creating or choosing it, then ask, is this mine? Is this actually truly what I'd like to choose? And then what I'd like you to do is add like another 3 to 5 things. If you don't have to tell anyone, you can if you want. But it's like, what is it that you would truly like to choose? Like, is there a certain business that you would like to start? Do you want to write a book? It's like, you know, do you want to be a stay-at-home mom? Do you want to be a kept woman, a kept man? It's like, what is it that you would like to ask for? Because anything is truly possible. What would make you happy? Okay, so someone asked you too, what do you ask if you feel you missed the boat? But that's the thing. It's like, you all did miss the boat. You don't fit in, right? How many of you have been trying to fit in? And you don't fit. So stop trying to fit in. Someone said, what does a kept woman mean? A kept woman means that you are with someone, whether it's a man or you've got a partner that is making all the money, and you're the one that is just like enjoying the money. Maybe you want to be a toy boy, you know? It's like anything is possible. Exactly. I like that, Manish. Would you ever be late to your own party? It's in the Being You book. And Dane wrote a book called Be You, Change the World, which is absolutely brilliant. Okay, so what judgment do you have of you in business and life? And everything that is times a Godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. So let's play with the business side of it, because that's where we're at. And one of the things that you know, one of the tools that we would use is extrapolation. So an extrapolation for me is about asking questions. Extrapolation is about, you know, if there's an idea that you have and it's like you haven't moved on it, then what other way can we look at this? Like, how do we navigate this? And usually it's really great if you can, you know, meet up with someone, get a great friend, someone who's not going to align and agree with you. They're actually going to ask you questions so that you can have a look at what is truly going on for you. Okay. So when you're extrapolating, it's like not coming to a conclusion and not trying to find an answer. It's basically being in question of like, okay, so what next? What next? What next? There was a session I did with a guy a long time ago, and we were talking about what is it that you want to create in life, like with business. And he was talking about he wanted to open up a boutique winery. And I said, okay, what's the boutique winery for? And he said, I'd like to show people that they can have this elegance. They can be hedonistic, and you know, they can really, you know, enjoy life and see the world in a different way, and you know, that whole taste and the flavor and you know, what it contributes to your body. And he went on with all of this information, right? And I said, okay, does it have to be a winery? Because he had sort of concluded that it had to be a winery, like that's the way that he would create that. And then he was like, oh no, to this day, this guy, this friend of mine, does many different things, but one of the things that he does is he owns antique shops and has beautiful, stunning jewelry, antiques, etc. So it was more the energy of what it was that he was desiring to create. So for you guys, it's like, what is the energy? Like, what is it that you would like to create in the world? For myself, I always wanted to change the world. I wanted to change the way people looked at each other, and I wanted to change the way they were with the planet. From a really young age, I looked at people and I was like, why do people do this? You know, when people meet and then they've got all these barriers and limitations up. And I was always like, well, why can't they be vulnerable and be like, hi? But all we seem to do is pick up on each other's judgments and then go to right and wrong. You know, most people will choose based on, will this person like me, or how do I be like them? Well, I'm asking, what if you didn't care if anyone liked you? And what if you were never trying to be like anyone else, because you are not like anybody else, and you started being you? So I wrote this whole piece on vulnerability, like pages and pages on being vulnerable years ago. And that's what I asked for. It's like, what can I create in the world that allows people to have that vulnerability with each other? And then the second piece for me was, you know, I walk around and I've always had a great love of nature and the earth, etc. And I would see people like not hear it, not be present with nature, not be in communion with it. And I was like, wow, what would it take to wake people up to know that like the earth has our back, and what are we going to choose with the earth, and what else is possible, right? So that were the two things that I really looked at. And because I know that the earth was fine. The earth has no judgment for anything that we do. She's so friggin' forgiving. She just goes, okay. And then she'll create something and then just shake a whole lot of people off, you know? It's like, but I was like, how do I wake people up? And I just had this concept of like, you know, I want to just go and grab them by the shoulders and like shake them and say, don't you get it? There's another possibility. There's something else available, you know? So that was the energy of what I wanted to create. That was it. Okay. So do you see how it doesn't have this linearity to it? It doesn't have, you know, what I'm going to do that's A plus B equals C. It doesn't have a budget. It doesn't have a plan. You know, none of that. And a lot of my friends were, you know, going off to college, and some were getting married and having kids, etc., which is totally fine. But I was like, I need to go see the world, and this is what I'd like to create. That's it. So at 19 years of age, and so here's what you do. If you look at the energy of what it is that you would like to create in the world and what it is you'd like to create for you, and then choose based on what matches the energy, so that your ask is actually congruent to your choices. Okay, so they match. And that's why I want you to write down those 5 things, because if you write down those 5 things and then that starts to show up, but it's like, oh, that's not actually what I'd like to choose, then look at what is it you'd like to choose. Like my parents, they were both, you know, my mother was Scottish, came over here, you know, just after World War II, when you came over to Australia for £10. And if you stayed longer than 6 months, then it was £10. If you went back within 6 months, then you had to pay the full fare. Like they were trying to get people to move over to Australia. My father escaped from Lithuania during World War II to Germany. And he ended up being a stowaway on a boat. He thought he was going to America, but he ended up in Australia. I just think that's funny. And ended up in Australia. So they both had this energy of like, you need to have safety. Whereas that's not what I grew up with. So they were both like, you need to get a good, safe job. And I remember being a, you know, horrible, petulant teenager saying, I'd rather stick needles in my eyes than have a good, safe job. Like I was like, I want to explore the world, you know, the world is my possibility. Whereas my dad was very like, can you please get education and finance? That will be able to set you up for the rest of your life, sort of thing. And of course, I chose what I chose. So if you get clear though on what it is, so that energy of me desiring to invite people to a different possibility, and it's like shake them by the shoulders and wake them up, you know, then I kept choosing what matched that energy. So for me, I left to go overseas. Actually, I really desired to see the world. That was such a big thing for me. So I worked my butt off in a whole lot of different jobs. And then I went overseas and I just kept choosing what matches the energy, what matches the energy. And there was one day I was actually in London and I was on a bus, one of those big red double-decker buses. And I saw a musician, a very famous musician in London, and she had a T-shirt on. And the T-shirt that she had on was, I actually don't remember the words, but it was very derogatory. And I thought, God, you are so famous and you have the power and potency to change people's lives by what you say and by what you do and what you show them how you are in the world. And she was wearing that T-shirt. So that was the day I sat on this big red bus. I'd already written this whole piece on vulnerability. And I went, oh, what could I create? What business could I create that would change people's lives? And that's when I started this T-shirt business, literally. So I wrote down all these ideas. And when I came home to Australia, I found this guy who would make the T-shirts exactly the way I wanted them. And I got them screen printed, etc. And I started to do that. And the business was called Good Vibes for You. And from all these people that I met all over the world, because I used to write a lot, I picked out these sayings and I put them on T-shirts. And that's actually, so that was matching the energy of what it was that I desired to choose, right? So, I mean, there's a whole lot of stories that go with that, because at the same time, I was creating myself to be in a huge amount of debt, but that's a whole other story. I kept choosing what it is that I wanted to choose, right? And that, because I chose Good Vibes for You, that actually led me to Mind, Body and Spirit Festival, which also led me to Access. And then, here I am today, 21 years later, and I'm, an Access Consciousness facilitator and a major contributor to the whole businesses that we have all around the world. And we have thousands and thousands of, practitioners and facilitators, etc. So it still matches the energy of what it is that I would like to choose. And I remember the first time I ever went to a seminar with Gary Douglas, who's the founder of Access, I looked at him and I was like, oh my goodness, this is what I would like to create. You are talking about everything that that I'd like to create in the world, except my theory was like, put a t-shirt on to change, had words to change the way they looked at the world, shake them by the shoulders and say, don't you get it? There's another choice. Well, Access Consciousness has some tools and processes that are a hell of a lot easier, than that. Hence the clearing statement, etc. So I was like, I'll have that, please. And still, I'm not looking at Access as an answer or a conclusion and that's it, that's final. If something else ever showed up that still matched the energy of what it is I know that I can contribute in the world, I would choose it. But here's the thing about Access. It changes every 10 seconds. Every single one of you who come along, you have something to offer, because we are so much more aware than what you've been willing to acknowledge. Every single one of you has this ability to perceive, know, be, and receive so much, right? So please, if you follow what it is that you know and what it is you want to create in the world, what sort of world could we all create, together? That's a contribution to each other. So I just want to address something. Someone also said something on the side here too. How many of you have been, like, how many projections and expectations have been put upon you that you can't settle down, that you can't make your mind up? It's like that you've done, you've done too many things. You need to, do something and settle down. Like, there was a business that I started with an ex-boyfriend of mine years ago, and he used to say to me, Simone, you're all over the place. And of course, I was like, oh, he must be right, I must be wrong. How many of you do that? And he said, you're doing so many different things at once. You need to choose one thing and finish that and then choose the next thing. And I was like, okay, then. So for about 4 or 5 days, I'd wake up and I would like choose one thing with the business and I would do that and I would complete it. And then I would go, okay, what's next? And I would choose that and then I would complete it. I was so bored. I was like, oh my God, this is so boring. And everything was just moving, at a snail's pace. It's like how many of you liked, and if you like to function like that, that is totally okay. But what I'm asking is find out what works for you. That doesn't work for me. Even at my desk right now, I have, different devices and I have so many different things open in my computer that sometimes my computer just freaks out and goes, for God's sake, will you shut me down and shut all these different things that are open? And I'm like, yes, okay, I get it. So because I work on so many different things. And I don't know about you guys, but if you've been working from home, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, where you go out to get something and then you go into the kitchen, you think, oh, just empty the dishwasher. I'll just put that load of washing on. Okay, well, now I might sit down and, write some of this book, or I might do this. But that works for me. Like, what works for you? I like doing, 50 billion things at once. What is it that you like to choose? And I also work very different hours. Like for me, when I wake up, I'm really creating first thing in the morning. At nighttime, I'm not that great. Like I do stuff, but I've just had such a big morning. Like this morning, I got up at 4:30 a.m. And it's like, but that's okay for me. I'm in Australia, the birds are out, it's hot, it's whatever. It's like, it works for me. So what works for you that you haven't been willing to choose based on nobody else is choosing it? You're different. You're different. You're different. You're different. You're different. Stop trying to fit in. And everything that that is times a gazillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay. So, yeah. So how many of you have been told that you need to choose something and stick to it? And this is with everything, guys. It's like, I mean, I don't know about you, but it's like, they used to call me some of my friends called me the 3-month wonder, because in relationships, I would like be with someone for 3 months. And then I was like, okay, I'm done. Thank you so much. It was great. And I'd be friends with my exes, but I was like, I'm done. But you were supposed to find someone, you're supposed to find a boyfriend that you were going to be with, forever and ever and ever and ever. And it's like, well, that didn't match the energy of what I was choosing, so it's okay to keep choosing. It's okay to choose something. And one of the tools we talk about in Access Consciousness is 10-second increments. People go, how the hell do you choose in 10-second increments? Practice. Okay. So what I want you to do, some home play tomorrow morning when you wake up, because most people have something that they do in the morning that's sort of pretty familiar or similar. So maybe you wake up and, you go make coffee, or you have a shower, or you make tea, or whatever it is. What I want you to do is choose. And then instead of just drinking the coffee because you've made it and you make it every morning, ask, okay, so body, do you actually desire to drink this coffee? And notice the energy. Or do you go, I only drink 1 coffee, or I always have 2, or, some days my body likes lots of coffee, other days it doesn't. And just because you made a cup of coffee, breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't mean you have to drink it. Same thing as a glass of wine in the evening. When it tastes great, your body is going, yes, this is awesome. Thank you so much. And the second it starts tasting like vinegar, your body doesn't desire it anymore. Okay. So if you're functioning in 10-second increments, you're becoming way more aware of what is actually possible in every moment of every day. So practice 10-second increments, because how many of you, and I'm a great one for this, like you'll be, doing something and it's like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning and you've already start planning out your day. You're like, oh, I'm going to do this, rather than, okay, what if I didn't conclude my day? Because your day never, ever, ever, ever shows up the way you think it's going to. Not one day have you gone to bed and gone, well, that day showed up exactly as I thought it was going to. It doesn't work like that, okay? So what if instead, when you start to conclude your future, stop. Oh, am I concluding my future now? Everything that is right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, online, shorts, boys and beyonds. I'm functioning in 10-second increments. What would I like to choose now? Now, I'm not saying, don't show up to meetings or don't do that. Like I have a whole calendar on my phone that has different things there, but be willing to change them as well if required. So functioning in 10-second increments is literally choosing every moment every moment, every day. So you're not concluding your future, you're not concluding your day. So, if you probably not sending me direct messages is a good idea, because I don't really, if they come in, I can't read them all. But if you have a question, you can write it up there too. Okay, so there's a question. Julia, you have a question?
Yes, thank you very much. I just would like to say first, I'm very grateful. I have all of your books and I read them several times and they are just gems. So thank you very much for that. My question is, most of the time I have like really huge ideas, I think so, more than I can chew. And they become really overwhelming, like I don't even know where to start, like how to look at it or how to break it down or what to do with it. So then I just leave it because it looks like it's just like impossible. And I don't really know, like I keep asking questions. I don't know where to go with it. Any help on that?
So, couple of things. So first of all, don't judge yourself, okay? And I noticed that someone here on the side wrote also that they judge themselves based on that they're not consistent when they keep choosing something different, okay? So there's different types of people in the world. And most of the time what you are, you judge, right? So what Julia was talking about, I would say she's definitely like an ideas person. And how many of you are ideas people, that you have a billion ideas? You think everybody else has an idea. Like, it's like, one of a lot of people who know me laugh because I go, oh, I was just in the shower. Because I'm in the shower and I come up with all these different ideas. Like someone at one stage gave me a notepad that is a tradesman notepad that you can write on because it can get wet. Because I come up with so many different ideas all the time. But I would be someone who is an ideas person. Other people who I've spoken to were laughing, going, when you used to say that, I'd go to the wrongness of me, because I'd go, oh, I just shower. And it's like, that's okay if you just shower, okay? You don't need to come up with a billion ideas in the shower. We are all different. And that is the beauty of all of us being here on planet Earth. We are different. But if you keep being everything, so someone's saying that the sound is stopping, but is it true? I think it might just be them. Or is it me? No, it's good. Okay. So maybe check your sound, Andrea. So if you keep being the difference that you be, that is the contribution that we can all be to each other and for each other and with the planet. Okay. So if you're an ideas person, get a notebook and write down all of these ideas. Okay. And look at them. And it's like maybe once a week and ask, or once a day, it could be whenever you want. Okay. And ask, is there any of these ideas that I could create as a business, that I could create money from? Okay. So keep writing down ideas. But a lot of the times what occurs is, if you're an ideas person, you write down all of these ideas and then everyone goes, oh, she's just a dreamer. Oh, she never actually, she doesn't actualize anything. Nothing ever comes to fruition. She's always got these ideas, but she never actually chooses anything. And how many of you were told that you were a dreamer at school when you were sitting there looking out the window because you were so freaking bored, but you were creating all these different worlds by just looking out the window, So what you can do is have a look at who or what else can I add to the business or the idea. Because there's different people in the world. You've got creator, connector, and mover is 3 of the different energies. And if you have not read Joy Business book, I highly recommend it. It's also in Audible, so you can listen to it. And we've got so many Joy Business facilitators around the world too, who actually we're going to talk about that at the end. But if you have a session with them, etc., or go to a class, they can look at this in particular for you, okay? Like what works for you. But you have these energies, creator, connector, mover. And the creator is the person who has, a hell of a lot of ideas and has the ability to create these ideas that they know is going to create a greater future, right? Then you've got the connector, and the connector is the person that just talks to everyone. The connector is the person who knows how to get this idea and take it to the world. And these are short descriptions. And then you've also got the mover, and the mover is the person who knows what we should choose today in order to create that as a future. Okay, and then you've got creator, connector, and mover. And as I'm talking about it, a lot of the times I'm going to say that the one that you think is the most valuable is usually the one that you are not good at. The one that you choose and you go, oh, anyone can do that, is what you're usually great at. Because you tend to dismiss what you're great at. Have you noticed that? Usually your greatest capacity, you've decided that you're useless. Oh, anyone can do that. No, they can't. That's you. That's your capacity. So everywhere that you've been unwilling to claim, own, and acknowledge all of your capacities, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and padona, in shorts, boys and beyonds. Because it doesn't match the energy of you choosing the greatness of you. You dismissing it matches the energy of the judgment that you have of you. Well, what if you stop judging you today? So you've got creator, connector, mover, and then you've also got what you call foundational person. And the foundational person is someone who is good at all 3. So you might be one of those people who goes, yeah, I can connect, I can move, I can be a creator. And then a lot of the times they are really good at being like a CEO, a manager, etc., because they have this aerial view, like a helicopter view, and they can see everything and they know what energy is required at that moment. Like, okay, we've just launched a product. Okay, connecting, that's what we require, or even we've got an idea. Okay, so now we need to, extrapolate and get this idea, to actualize it. So there's all these different energies that is required, but most of the time we stop ourselves based on, oh, well, I'm an ideas person and I never choose anything. That's okay. What else can you add to the business? There's a hell of a lot of people out there who are not ideas people, but they're great at grabbing an idea and running with it. Like all of you have a part of the business that you probably enjoy more than something else. For me, I love a startup. I love the beginning of something. I love when an idea comes and it's like, oh, like you've got nothing. You don't have anything. You have no plan. It's like, this is just an idea. That's one of my favorite things. It's like, oh, how are we going to actualize this and, put this into, existence so it shows up in the world. So, but once it's running and once it's moving, and ladies and gentlemen, please learn from what I did here. I had so many businesses that I would start something and it was running and it was making money and it was flowing. And then guess what I did? I got bored. So I would destroy the business so that I could start something else. How many of you destroy everything that's showing up so that you can start something else and you can be creative? And I would use it as a justification. I'd go, oh, see, that business is now failing, so I need to start something else. Well, you can actually start something else and keep this going as well. I've learned that now. Okay. So, but what is that for you? Like, I know a lot of people who are great at starting something, but then they get bored. So it's time to pass it on. Like you have those baton races and you've got 3 or 4 people holding the baton. Someone starts, runs, passes the baton, and then somebody else takes it over the finish line. There's some people who are amazing at taking an idea over the finishing line. So what I would like you to do is get clear on what it is for you. Because whatever it is for you is not wrong. And whatever it is for you is not right. If you come out of judgment, it's like then you can actually get clear on what works for you and what you can choose, and it will create everything to be way easier. Yeah, like someone said that they get bored quickly. So if you get bored quickly, add something else. What else can you add to your life? And most people go, oh, yeah, but my to-do list is really long. It's not about adding it to your to-do list. It's like, what else can you add to your life? What else matches the energy of what it is that you'd like to choose? And that goes right back to right at the beginning when I was talking about that, writing down 5 things that you keep saying you'd like to create and you'd like to choose, but you have not yet chosen. Okay, so then could you choose them today? Do you actually desire to choose them? Or as I said before, is that somebody else's idea? Is that somebody else's point of view of what you should be choosing? A friend of mine a while ago was talking about how she realized that every single time someone went, oh, you're so great at that, she'd go, oh, I'll do that then. So she kept just choosing what everybody else had said, oh, you're so great at. And then she realized, I don't know if I'm choosing for me. I'm just choosing because people go, oh, you're so organized that you should do that, or you're good at this, or you're good at that. So she sat down and went, okay, let me look at everything that I've got on my plate here. And is it what I would actually like to choose? Or am I just choosing based on other people's points of view? So again, I asked a question before, who do you think of when you choose? So we have something that in Access that we were just talking about recently. It's called a reflexive reality, right? Like a reflex position. So I'm not going to go fully into this, but I want to ask you a few questions so that you have that. Is what is your reflex position with business? So everything that comes up, like your reflex position with business, do you go, I'm not good enough, it's not possible, it's not going to work, oh, doubt is my reflex position, what is that? So everything that is times of Godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. What is your reflex position with ideas? How many of you, when you have an idea, you've already destroyed it? Because here's the really interesting thing. How many of you are willing to have so many ideas and have this list of what it is you'd like to choose and what it is you'd like to create, and you're more comfortable never choosing it? Then you don't have to deal with success. Then you don't have to deal with other people's, judgments and projections that you are choosing something that is greater than others. Are you done with being the same as others? Please. What if you were so different that no one ever wanted to talk to you again? That's okay. So everything that is times a Godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right, wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Like, is the world currently working for you, or would you like to create a different future? We are the ones that get to create a different future. You know how we create a different future? We choose what works for us. I mean, if you look at nature, it's like, the bees aren't trying to, be birds, and the birds aren't trying to be flowers, and the sun isn't trying to be the moon. And it's like they are being everything that they be with a level of contribution that never has a conclusion or an answer or a judgment. It's contribution that keeps expanding and expanding and expanding. So if we are being that, then what world could we create? What world would actualize by our choices? So what's your reflex position with you in business? Now, if you please listen to this call again as well. And if you listen to this call again and look at those questions that I'm asking, and then even if you don't know what it is, you can just say POC and POD or all that stuff that lady said, Simone, or look it up. Go look at theclearingstatement.com. But look at the energy, because when I ask you that question of what is your reflex position with you in business, there's an energy that comes up. You might actually have a cognitive answer, or it might just be an energy. So everything at that is times a gazillion, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Like I said, I wrote Joy Business about 16 years ago. I've done so many different classes. I've done so many different sessions. And do you know how many people are more comfortable having no money or having a problem or having a business that didn't work than actually being successful? But if you look at the energy, if you go, oh, well, I gave it a shot, or now's not the time, etc., then and now's not the time, etc., then you're the same as everybody else. Whereas if you actually went, you know what, I'm doing this, I'm going to create this, I'm going to choose this. And here's the other thing too, you choose it and you might be going in this one direction, but then you head in another direction. That's okay. Follow the energy. Like me moving to Queensland to become a naturopath, which I think is hilarious now. And it's like, but I came to Queensland and then I met this access consciousness facilitator and went, oh, that. So be willing to change everything, no matter what people are projecting at you. And like we discussed before, how many people have been projected at them that you can't settle down, you can't make your mind up, all you do is a dreamer. Okay, change, 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 and choose, 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 choose. You have infinite choice. You can choose anything. If you come out of judgment of you and stop trying to please everybody else, that question that I said, who do you think of when you choose? And destroy and uncreate that, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Just an idea, guys. What if you actually thought of you when you chose? What could show up? What could be different? So what is your reflex position with you in business? How many of you go to, oh, I haven't studied enough, or I don't have a degree, or I don't have enough money, or, you come up with all these, I can't, I don't, I can't, I don't. I think that is times a good selling where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So truth, what is your reflex position with money? And everything at that is times a good zillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. What if you function beyond judgment? What if that's your demand? Today, I'm going to function beyond judgment. I love that somebody wrote, what if I could be the weird and amazing being that I be without projecting what others expect of me, so I could be the possibility of me that would contribute to the world to be the best it can be? Damn, girl, absolutely. Go for it. Everything it doesn't allow you to choose that, and not from fight, from choice, okay? How many of you have decided that when you choose for you, you're choosing against others? You're not. A long time ago, I had a chat with Gary Douglas, who's the founder of Access Consciousness. And in regards to, I had a stepson for quite a few years. And he said, because it was sort of like, I met my stepson when he was 5. And it was like, I wasn't planning on having a kid. And all of a sudden I have this 5-year-old. It's like, okay, how do I navigate this? And so I spoke to Gary a lot, and he said, look, when you choose for you, you show him that he can choose for him. And all of you guys out there with kids, how many of you, like, what do you think of when you choose? You're thinking of your kids. Well, guess what? When you choose for you, you include them too, and you show them a different world. So, Daniela.
Sorry.
Hi.
Couldn't unmute. Hi. Thank you so much for all these words. And I think, you know, I wrote that, you know, because I think that is the judgment that I see of me, you know, that, you know, I'm weird, creative, and I'm an awesome person. I love being who I am. And yet I don't choose to be the person that I can be.
So for what reason do you not? Like, what's that insane point of view that you don't?
I judge myself.
Okay, so what's your judgment of you?
What is the judgment?
Yeah.
That I wouldn't be accepted or loved. I don't know. I think this is the.
So thank you for bringing this up, because it's interesting. So I want to give you some more home play. I want you to write down 5 things that you would describe yourself as. That's truly you, okay? Like when you just said that, you know, weird, wonderful, awesome person, okay? So like 5 things that you know is you, okay? Like if you're kind, you have a generosity of spirit or whatever. It's like, you know, you're funny. It's like anything, just make it light. 5 things. Now then look at, for what reason, because there's always a reason and justification that you don't choose it. For what reason am I not choosing to embrace all of me? Right? And then you go to, oh, because then I won't fit in or I won't be loved. So then you stop being you based on you've decided that everybody else is not going to receive you. Everybody else might not like me. But here's the interesting thing. Have a look around. How many people do you, like when someone is truly being them, that is one of the most attractive things in the world. But when they're trying to be someone else, it's like, oh my God, this is so boring.
Yeah.
So what if, I mean, Dane has a book. Please, if you've never heard of Dane here, or you've got the book, read it again. Being you, changing the world. And he wrote it many years ago, and it's in a lot of different languages as well. And it's also on Audible in Dane's voice. And it's brilliant because it's not trying to be somebody else. It's like being you, changing the world. And like I said before, how many of you spend your entire life trying to be liked by others or being like others? And you are not like others. You're different. Every single one of you is different. Please claim, own, and acknowledge the difference that you be, because that's the beauty of you. That's the gift that you are. I mean, even look at, none of us are the same. Look at even on this Zoom. And it's like, you look around, like no one looks the same. Even twins don't look the same. Like we're different. And then we spend our entire lives trying to be like other people. It's like, come on. It's like, what if now is the day? Now is the moment. This 10 seconds, that rule of 10-second increments, this 10 seconds, you went, I'm not choosing that anymore. I'm going to be me, whatever that is. And if the world doesn't like it, oh, well, what if you gave it a shot?
Yeah. That's pretty remarkable. I mean, it's simple, and yet we make it so complicated.
I know. I somewhere, I don't know where we were sold the lie that if we make life complicated, that it's going to work out better. Not true, ladies and gentlemen. So the mantra of Access Consciousness is all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. Okay. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. It's like, 10 times in the morning, 10 times at night, 100 times a day. Actually, Dane here has a whole lot of amazing audios called You Got This. And I think someone on here will know. I think he's got one that's about, I think it's like $5 or something like that. And it's him using the mantra about 100 times. Play it, play it, play it, play it. And then especially now, it's like around Christmas time, doesn't it start to get really, people start to get really stressed, etc. And it's like, really, is it your stress? Or is there something different going? Like, what would you choose around now? What are you going to choose on Christmas Day? What are you going to choose over the holidays? Are you going to choose to buy into the family stress, or are you going to actually be the one that's just like, everything's great? How does it get any better than this? Ask a question. What else is truly possible today? You got this. What if life and living was way easier than what you're making it? But really, the crux of this is to come out of judgment of you. Because if you come out of judgment of you, and I know that this whole call today is like the ideas that you have that you haven't been moving on. Well, how much have you not been moving on the ideas and the movement of your life based on the judgment that you have of you? And what is that judgment? Oh, it's not going to work out, or it's not going to show up, or I can't possibly get that job, or like, how many of you are not choosing based on you don't want to receive a no? Well, what if you were willing to ask for anything and be okay with a no? A no is just a no. Like, that's a great home play too. Ask for at least 5 things that you've decided somebody's going to say no, and then see what shows up. And there's a whole bunch of people who have done this, and there was some hilarious stories of like, one girl walking up to a taxi and just saying, hey, I don't have any money, but I really don't want to walk, in these high heels anymore, and I've just got to go down the corner. Do you think you could take me? Thinking that the taxi driver would say no. And he said yes. There was a woman who walked into a restaurant, and this guy was eating these French fries, and she walked up to him and said, do you mind if can I just pinch a couple of your French fries? Thinking that he would say no. And he said yes. It's like, so, there's all these stories that came out, but it's like, how many of you have already decided it's going to be a no? There was one woman who actually asked her husband if he would buy her a holiday home on the beach, thinking he would said no. And he said yes. I was like, you just got a holiday home on the beach based on you thought your husband would say no. So what are you not asking for that you could be asking for? And find out what happens next. Like, life is for living. This is an adventure, guys. And now more than ever, if you don't get that your life is not predictable, that the world is not predictable, that we get to choose it and we get to create it as we desire, but you're going to choose it. Okay. So somebody asked, any tips of coming out of judgment of you? Yeah, it's like, look, don't judge that it's taking a while if it does, but every single day, it's like, maybe write a question on a post-it note or put it in your phone or something like that. Put it on your mirror, and as you're brushing your teeth, and poke and pod everywhere that you've gone to judgment of you today. You don't need to go down the rabbit hole and be like, oh my God, I did it 20 times here and here. And, I judged my ass was fat. And then I judged I didn't have enough money in my bank account. And then I judged that, no one would like me if I did this. And then I judged that, I wasn't quick enough at work. And then I judged, like, it's continuous. It's this litany of judgment. Stop. And even if you have to, take yourself off to the bathroom 20 times a day and people think you have diarrhea, that's okay. Take yourself up to the bathroom, be present with your body, okay? Because most of us wake up in the morning and have this litany of judgment of your bodies. And then just be really present with your body. And a lot of the times before, like every morning when I wake up, before I even get out of bed, I just have a moment with my body. And a lot of the times I will ask, what would it take for today to be greater than yesterday? Or sometimes I'm just like, hey, body. And it's like, what are we going to choose today? Like, how much fun can we have today? And what if it was with that energy that you created your day? So, but you can every day, just like, what judgment do I have of me? Destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. You can use the process of what judgment do I have of me in business? What judgment do I have of me with money? What judgment do I have of me in sex? What judgment do I have of me in relationships? What judgment do I have of me in friendships? You can put anything in there that's pinging you, of being a parent. And then everything at that is times a gazillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. And then follow it up with, if I wasn't judging me, what could I choose? So that you open up this energy to a different choice. Hey, I'm wondering, and I don't know how we do this, a lot of those processes and the questions that I've just come up with today, is there a way that we could get them written out? And I know people have come on here and haven't registered, but can we get them to, because I would like to record them and also for people to have it like as some downloadable PDF or something like that, that we could, that you could refer to, because I invite you to go and find more Access Consciousness classes. I invite you to read the books. I invite you to find facilitators, all over the world. My target at the beginning of when I first came across Access was, holy shit. I was like, I would like the whole entire world to know that this exists so that they can choose it. They don't have to choose it. Okay. That was, I'm up for that. Okay. This might not work for you, but for me, I'm pretty sure I would have been dead by now, or I have lived a very colorful life, as I like to say. I've been there, done that. And I was definitely heading on a road down destruction. And Access Consciousness tools have changed every area of my life, even the areas of my life that I thought, nah, that's not going to work. So one of them was money. And that was my second book that I wrote, Getting Out of Debt Joyfully. Because I thought Access tools work in every area except money. It's a good thing I'm cute because I wasn't very smart. And then I eventually actually used the Access Consciousness tools with money, and I got out of debt and I have money and have way more fun with money now than I ever have before. And what else is possible? So I would like you to be able to receive from this no matter what. If you choose a class, a book, a facilitator, whatever, that's great. Like, let's go. And if you don't, there's so much in this class that you can receive from. So I don't know, Wes and Paula, if there's a way that we can get that to people, or a way that they can have that.
Yeah, so I think what we could probably do is do like create the PDF and put a free download on the Access Joy Business website.
Mhm.
So we'll say maybe it might take us a few days. So go to the Access Joy Business website and we'll make an option for a free download. And I am totally speaking, Wes is like the tech genius in this
We
dynamic
will send
duo.
out a replay email, and the replay will also be available on YouTube. We'll put a link there to the PDF and you can find it. Just give us a couple
so
days.
in about 3 or 4 days, go check it out and we'll have that for you. Okay. So thank you so
Perfect.
much.
Thank you, Simone.
I'm just so hugely grateful for every single person that is involved in Access and uses the tools, because like I said, to me, when I wrote that piece on vulnerability, like, I don't know, 30 years ago or something, and looked at the world and went, there has to be something else. There's got to be something else. Like, this can't be it. And my father, who is an amazing man, was telling me you should get a good, safe job in a bank. And I was like, no, learn typing and shorthand and all this. And I was like, no, there's got to be something else. Like, there's more to this world than that. That's where I'm functioning from. And every single one of you, even you popped on here. Okay. It's like, oh, you're watching this in the future. And it's like, what I'm talking about. You get it. You're weird and it's wonderful. Please keep choosing that, okay? And what else is it that you'd like to choose? Don't stop, okay? Just keep being you. So I know we are at the end and there's a couple more questions, but if there's, Wes and Paula, do you want to talk about, because I know we have some, hang on. So I have a podcast too called Choice, Change and Action podcast. It's great. And I talk about many, many different topics. One of the topics that I think it's coming out next Tuesday, is I did a podcast with Julia Sotis, and we basically extrapolated the whole time on a business idea she had, because I wanted people to get the energy of how you extrapolate when you have an idea. So if you have not subscribed to my podcast, maybe do that now, Choice, Change and Action podcast, and because it's about making choices and changing and taking action. And that comes out with Julia Sotis, and you'll get the idea of what it is to extrapolate. Right, Paula's just put it up there in the chat thread as well. And what we also have available, Paula or Wes, I think you're going to talk about that too.
Yes. So this call with Simone, thank you, Simone. Such a brilliant conversation. So this conversation with Simone is actually the kickoff to something that we're calling Joy Business Breakthroughs, where you actually will get to have a one-on-one session with a Joy Business certified facilitator and do exactly what Simone was just talking about, have an extrapolation session with them. So there's 3 different days, and there's some time slots available, and based on the demand, we may be able to create some more slots for you. And Wes has popped into the chat the accessjoybusiness.com/sessions. So you can do a one-on-one session with a Joy Business certified facilitator, extrapolate on those ideas that you haven't moved on, and look at the places where you're a little stuck, or maybe you just need another perspective, and all the things Simone talked about. And so you can head to the Access Joy Business website and sign up for your very own session with a Joy Business certified facilitator.
And can I just add too, because how much is it? And the money is going towards
It's only €100 a session.
Okay, so it's €100 a session, which is not many of the facilitators charge just €100. So that's really cool. And they're all offering their time to do this as well. And the money is going towards Alugaro Actions for Futures, correct?
Yep, that's right.
So, and if you want to check out more about that, it's like we'll put some links in there as well, because we are developing this amazing resort in Costa Rica, which is it's just incredible. I've never been to a piece of land that was amazing as it is, the land, and then when you start building on it and the way we're building with it became more and even greater. It's just like, it's so wonderful. So that's,
and just so thanks for that. So just so you guys know, so Joy Business, Simone wrote the book Joy Business and then created a specialty within Access Consciousness. So there are facilitators that Simone has certified to facilitate based on the book Joy Business. So these sessions will be with those facilitators. So you don't have to be a facilitator. Anyone can choose a session. So anyone that has a question that would that's looking for extrapolation and wants to break through their business blocks and into the possibilities that are available, you can choose these sessions. And yeah, all the proceeds go to Actions for Futures.
And you should wear red all the time, Paula. You look amazing. I love it.
Thank you.
Red, the lipstick, it's just like, damn.
Thank you. It's the color of joy of business. Cool. So the sessions, so I'm seeing questions in here. How long are the sessions? The sessions are 30 minutes. And you actually, you'll choose the time that works for you, and we assign you to the facilitator. There are facilitators that also speak all of the languages that this call was translated in. So that's why we translated it in the languages that we did today, is because there's a Joy Business certified facilitator in that language. So if you're looking, if you aren't comfortable doing your session in English, we have language options for you. Yay, Ruth says she just booked hers. Amazing. So I think that's all of it. Thank you guys so much for being here. Simone, thank you. Just thank you. Thank you for being you and choosing and continuing to create and just never giving up and never quitting.
It's like there's no way in the world I would quit or give up, because I'm having way too much fun. And I also always get that energy of like, have we only just begun? Like, it's like, what else is possible? Like many years ago, Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, said to me, you know, we were creating a whole, but we had at that stage, like some really basic classes on, well, not basic, but bars, foundation, and then something called Choice Possibilities, which I facilitate too, and then a 7-day, and that was it. And he said to me, what if this was just the tip of the iceberg? Like, what else is possible? And now when I look where we are, I'm like, oof, what if this is just the tip of the iceberg? Like, yes. What else is possible? But guess what it includes, guys, is all of you choosing what it is you desire to choose, and choosing not based on judgment, choosing based on let's go. Like, this planet has your back, consciousness has your back, the universe has your back. Let's go. What else can we choose today? So thank you so much, everybody, for having me on here, for being here. And thank you for everybody, all the translators and, you know, the Access crew. There's so many staff behind the scenes that dot I's and cross T's, and they are just absolutely brilliant. So thank you so much, everyone. And thank you.
Thank you, Simone.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Don't forget to sign up for your session.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Simone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thankful for all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.